Just before we start this week's podcast, as always, we try and make these as light-hearted as fun as possible. But with recent news in the rugby league community, it was time to put that to a side and make a very serious point before we start. With the recent devastating news coming out of Bradford and Tom Holmes regarding his current health update, we at the Try Time podcast, on behalf of the entire rugby league family, would like to take a moment before this week's episode to send our respect and our best wishes to Tom and his family through what must be the most difficult time of their lives so far. We wish Tom all the best in his recovery and hope that he can be back to a full playing self in the near future.
Yeah, absolute legend of the game. Everyone in rugby league's behind you. We definitely are. And yeah, you're going to get through it.
Yeah, we can't wait to see you back, whatever form that may be.
Yeah.
And with that, into this week's pod. What's up, guys, and welcome back to episode 44 of the Try Time podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Callum.
And today, we just thought we'd touch on the January transfer window, Super League edition. It seems we've got a lot of crazy stuff happening in the market at the moment, and kind of unexpectedly late, considering pre-season programmes are now well underway. And just kind of touch on who looks set for the new season, who's in a bit of chaos, and actually, are any of these gambles really worth the risk?
Yeah, it seems like teams have just randomly realised that the season's like a month away and have thought we actually need to sign some players here. Or
oh no, we're a bit shit.
Get rid of some players and bring other players in. And it's been like a weird week, hasn't it, really, since January, really. Start of January, it's weird.
It's like New Year, new club.
Yeah.
I don't know what's really going on. Is this like some New Year's resolution thing that's been agreed in Super League?
So, some dodgy New Year's Eve parties obviously have led to some fallouts at clubs. So.
Well, I thought the Try Time Christmas do were bad enough.
Well, we can't touch on that.
Well, we definitely would be cancelled in that case. And you know what? For once, it's not me who's saying the controversial stuff. Or you, for that matter. It's our behind-the-scenes lot.
Yeah, true.
But without further ado, reminiscing on some dodgy drunken moments.
Yeah.
I guess the big story on this, and the one that's kick-started things off, Jordan Abdul has randomly decided he wants to be French for a year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird one. It's kind of like people are saying he wanted to go. Hull are saying, did they not need him? He's not, not good enough, but he probably doesn't make their starting team, so they're not bothered about him leaving. It seems like a bit of a weird breakup where you're hearing every side of the story and you don't know what's actually happened.
And Hull certainly to an extent must be happy for him to go, otherwise they wouldn't have sanctioned the move, let's be honest.
Yes, but whether that's because of them who's made that call or whether he's decided he wants to go or if he
that we don't know. What I do find weird is, like you say, the timing of all this. Yeah. Tyrone May signed a few months ago now.
Oh yeah, that's not
new
thing, yes. Way before pre-season.
You maybe would have said that May and Lewis were starting halfbacks then. So if Abdul was fine to go, why has this only just come out of the woodwork now? And how long has this been going on? Because Catalan never really replaced May up to this point, so it's perhaps come as no surprise that they were in the market.
Yeah, oh no, it makes sense from a Catalan's perspective. And I think they'd be stupid not to, because Abdul's a good Super League player, isn't he?
This is what I mean. They've probably got the best available on the market. I mean, whether he's Catalan calibre, coming off the back of another grand final appearance, they're second in 3 years?
Yeah.
Is questionable. I mean, James Maloney, Mitchell Pearce, Jordan Abdul.
Don't quite have the same ring to it, does it?
No, this is more the Josh Drinkwater-esque era, I think, in terms of calibre of player.
I do like Abdul. I think he's arguably got the best kicking game in the league, really.
He's certainly up there.
In terms, we're talking in-play kicking, I think he's very underrated.
You do realise you've now just upset 1,000 plus Wigan Warriors fans that are all just screaming Harry Smith's name at you right now.
I said one of the best. They literally, Wigan, don't start because you've literally you're the best at everything else. So, Abdul can have this guy, let's be honest. You've already signed Catalan's best player, so.
Well, that is a good point, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it's some much needed strength for Catalan because it has been a bit of a turmoil sort of off season for them. They've not really had any big name quality coming, I'd say.
Yeah, which has been weird. It's weird because I feel like in the past few years they've always looked
Well, it's
to
the
have.
easy sell, isn't it? I mean, where would you want to be? In the cold, wet north of England around rainy Manchester? Or sunning it up in the south of France, getting a tan all half the year?
Yeah, maybe. I think I've just clocked it. They've lost the pull because they've lost their assistant manager, the best coach in English rugby league.
Are you saying that because... I'm not even going to say this out loud.
Maybe that's it. Eamon O'Carroll has left as McNamara's assistant, and now they haven't got any pull. Why not? Why not?
If Eamon O'Carroll was the pull factor, I think you'd have signed better than you have heading into the season.
Look, and who's signing overseas players in Championship? Bradford, because we've got O'Carroll.
Who got dicked by a bunch of trialists? Bradford. Do we really want to touch on that game? Given how we were nearly falling asleep, it was that crap.
Yeah, it wasn't the best game, to be fair.
It was one of the worst games of rugby I've ever witnessed.
And I mean, the most interesting...
This is Bradford Featherstone, by the way, for anyone who's not been keeping up with Championship pre-season. Featherstone had half a team of trialists and still beat Bradford.
Yeah, basically. The best part of the day were, I think, when we finally found the Madry that we were promising ground.
The best part of the day was watching the brilliant conversion attempts of Max Jowett, I think, more than anything.
Well, Billy Jowett, not Max Jowett. It won't work.
Good point.
And
one of the
Lily Bish one as well. So, but yeah, that's something that Bradford do need to sort out. Goal kicker. But yeah,
you can tell we've been doing about Wakey a while on the pod recently with Max Jowett on the brain.
Yeah, that's true.
Although he's a player that hasn't moved, isn't he? He's still where he was.
He's still at Wakey, yeah. So he's not involved in the transfer business.
You can't say about another common rugby league surname in Joe Burgess. 10 out of 10 segue there.
I'm going to say I'll give you that.
Thank you.
It loses its effect when you...
I have to call it out.
You call it out straight after, but go on.
But yeah, Burgess leaving Salford, questionable circumstances, I'd say. Seems to be a lot of clouds about his departure. And he's rocked up on Jordan Abdul's salary cap.
Yeah, and I think it's a weird one. I just think it's on his day, and he's shown in the past, a quality Super League level winger.
So we're saying it's Burgess and Hall on the wings for KR this season, do you reckon?
I think probably, but it's... And I think Salford are in trouble. They've lost the two starting wingers. I know they've brought Ethan Ryan over from KR, funnily enough. It's just... I think a starting winger is a position you have nailed down. Your starting wingers, for me, should be nailed down going into pre-season.
Well, I will touch back on that comment very shortly, but...
Like the Abdul thing, because it's all about maybe a third choice halfback, and where do you faff around with your salary cap to get someone else in? But I think... I don't quite get that. But if Burgess is going to play, then...
I think your biggest... I mean, just to flick it back to KR for a second, I think your biggest problem is now, you sat there thinking, Jordan Abdul's gone, he was going to be third choice, okay, we can live with this. You may be slightly regretting letting Rowan Mills walk out the door at Castleford, who would have been much more content as a third choice, particularly if there's been a bit of pressure factor from Abdul himself, saying, if I'm not going to play, then I want to go to a club where I will play.
Well, that's the thing, I think, with Milnes. If it came to a point where Milnes wasn't going to play, Milnes down at Fev on dual reg doesn't seem bad, but you just know Abdul wouldn't have gone down on dual reg, don't you, because of what his stature in the game.
I mean, Christ, you conceded 40 if he did.
Well, yeah, but you know what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying, don't you?
You don't have a guy go from England international debut one season to dual regging it out at one of the Championship skint clubs the next year.
And you got to think, whereas Milnes would, you could see that.
Well, I mean, he's gone to Cass. That is basically just Featherstone in orange.
Yeah,
because there's probably not much difference in squad strength.
Fev don't have a squad, to be fair.
Well, they've got a 17. They just don't have anyone else.
Yeah. They've got half a KR team that they're going to take on dual reg.
Well, they've got AJ Wallace.
AJ Wallace, yeah.
But Cass is definitely a step down from KR in terms of if we compare starting 13. Obviously, that's probably offset by the fact he will have a much greater involvement in that Cass squad. That for him, he's got the chance to show his abilities better.
I can see why Mills
it's an attractive proposition.
He needs to be playing, otherwise he will end up in Championship, and he probably don't necessarily want that.
No, he wants to have a good crack at Super League. I can't blame him for that at all. But another season as third choice KR halfback, just in case your big club or your NRL comes in for Mikey Lewis, or Tyrone May heads back down under.
Or there's an injury.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even more longer term, waiting for that opportunity in the next season or two. You can probably afford that a bit more. Whereas now, who is there at KR without going into the youth system?
Yeah, true.
And that's always a risk. I mean, you only have to look at the reluctance to play Simfield when Leeds had half-back problems because they don't want to put that pressure of such a key position on such a young player.
Yeah, you try to force youth into team. Then when
we're going to end up with Ben Reynolds, aren't we? Who is, of course, Featherstone's number 6.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the rumours now coming out in this mad January are that they went in for Gale from Wakey.
Well, I've heard that one, and Wakefield have rejected that, saying we're not in the interest of letting our best players go. Which I find very interesting, given he spent a good 3/4 of his time at the club last season, stood next to the coach injured.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird that the Gale at Wakey thing, because it's like, would there just be better playing Lino and Lawford in halves potentially and just going with that rather than... I mean, they're going to walk league realistically anyway, aren't they?
I don't know if he was having injury problems throughout last season. This was a niggling thing. But he did okay and fell out at Leeds. He went to Hull FC and bar getting sent off live on Channel 4, I can't remember that much more than he did.
Yeah.
He went to Keighley and didn't really set the Championship alight either.
Don't get me wrong, he didn't look out of place.
No, he looked good.
The whole situation at Keighley was corrupt.
It can't have been a fun backroom.
Yeah, well,
look what
happened. I mean,
well, it all capitulated, didn't it? And they went down on points difference in the end. But now you're going, of course, ditching that project mid-season to go to Wakefield, who ultimately went down, but arguably without much involvement on pitch, at least from him. So you do maybe wonder, is this more of an off-pitch move that they're keeping him around for, rather than...
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got all the experience in the world, really, hasn't he? So it's not like he's...
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly in the Northern Hemisphere, he's done it all, really.
But if you're Luke Gale, would you rather play every week for Wakey in Championship or be an extra part, an 18th man every week?
You've probably achieved most of the things you wanted in your career. I mean,
a nice
you've won Man of Steel, you've won the Challenge Cup with your boyhood club, you've not won Super League. But really, so you're probably not going to do that at KR as a third choice halfback either.
It's crazy that he hasn't won Super League, though.
Is it, though? Because he spent all his best years at a cast team that decided to blow the Super League trophy on Hardacre's nose.
Bottled it against Leeds, who he ended up eventually got. Yeah, it's a bit messy, isn't it?
Yeah.
The FC, you were never going to win out.
Well,
Sorry,
Hull FC. Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to the Hull FC preview because we talk about Warrington joking it's their year, but I feel like that's Hull FC as well. Every year there's statement signings and promises of progress and top fives, and every year they finish 9th or 10th, and it's just another head coach down.
Yeah.
Something weird goes on at that club, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
This is not where we expected this conversation to go.
Well, no, we were talking about KR and we've ended up on FC. I don't quite get it.
Cue the FC fans going, it's because we're the biggest club in Hull.
But yeah, you got to think though, KR this can't be pre-planned because there's so many young sort of halfbacks that they could have signed as third choice.
If you're KR looking for a third choice halfback, you'd probably take Lawford off Wakefield rather than going for Gale.
But they could have probably had Lawford.
That's what I mean. He was probably more available, would have been willing to take third choice at a Super League club.
Because he was third choice at a Championship club. So
precisely, it's a step up.
And he's now third choice at Championship club as well, at Wakey.
But realistically, Gale's probably not going to stick around long. He's got his eyes on playing Super League every week.
Yeah.
So, one step ahead of the game from KR, who are normally one of the most forward-thinking clubs when it comes to stuff like this.
Yeah.
It's a very non-KR signing as well to go for the 36-year-old journeyman.
Yeah. I don't think it.
I mean, outside of Sean Kenny Dowell, who is probably a bit different because he's coming over from the NRL with years of experience.
And he, to be fair to him, he came over and actually did a job. A lot of players come over for paycheck. Fair play to him because he's really...
He played his heart out whenever he pulled the shirt on.
Yeah. Him and Lynette as well. Both of them just...
Well, don't forget Lynette was randomly Scottish one day.
Well.
But
him and
it's an interesting one. And I don't... Because Luke Gale to me doesn't seem a whole KR type of signing.
No, I can't see him. I can't see it.
So... Like you say, there can't be this pre-planned.
But they could have even... That's what I mean. So Lawford's just an example. They could have... I mean, he's ended up... I don't know if he were always going to go over to us, but look at Riley Dean they could have had, who went to Mackay Cutters.
Yeah, potentially.
That's still... You laugh at it, but at the end of the day, he's the perfect player who wants to prove that he's good enough for Super League.
I mean,
I think he probably is. I think he's...
I guess this question then is, does it come down to salary cap? Because obviously Jordan Abdul's gone for the season, and we understand there's no recall clause, which, this isn't football, we're on a salary cap. That's pretty understandable that they wouldn't have that.
Yeah, depending on
they'll
how
calculate the cap accordingly. He can play against his parent team as well, all that sort of stuff.
He's basically signed, hasn't he?
And he can go on a free next year. So he's basically signed for Catalan at this point. Obviously they've got Burgess in. But he's probably not coming in on the same contract demands because, let's face it, he's leaving Salford mutual consent under a bit of a cloud. It's either that or be unemployed for a year.
Yeah.
Or drop down a division, which will pay less than what even an average KR wage will do. Whereas I imagine Abdul's probably one of the bigger earners.
Yeah, he probably earned a big contract, didn't he, on that good 2-year span that he had where he were one of the best halves in the league.
And again, Luke Gale is probably cheap comparatively, coming from a championship club.
I mean, I
can't imagine he's on mega money.
They're still full time, and he's got money than you own. Don't get me wrong. He's not the highest earner at Wake, I wouldn't imagine, but there will be people. He'll be.
I don't think he's coming on much. I think he's ultimately come to have one last crack.
Well, you reckon the highest paid player in Championship is? And don't say Richie Myler, just because I know he's on full time wage.
Well, I'm going to say on 60 odd grand a week report, it probably is Richie Myler a year. Fucking hell, if he's on a week, that's the cap gone in one go. Yeah,
but I mean, there is
no about 60 odd grand a year, which I imagine Championship is.
But Wakey have definitely got players on more than that because they're full time. Lino's definitely.
Lino's got to be on a decent whack.
Even your McGilvery, I bet in cheap. I
mean, he was probably looking at Huddersfield or retirement, so I don't think he'll necessarily be on more than that.
About Walmsley, he's paid his own way, hasn't it? He'll be playing for free with Walmsley at this point. I think. He's paid his own transfer.
Well, there you go, whole chaos. Since Halifax seems to be out for all the money they can get, go get us your free.
Well, I mean, there's multiple halfbacks in the Championship that I think are good enough. And I'm not.
I mean, I joke about taking Reynolds off of Fev on dual reg. He was literally playing for Lee in a team that won the Challenge Cup last year.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a smart.
He is good enough to play Super League level, and I don't know if maybe that's KR's thoughts. But I don't know how Fev will accept that.
No, Fev need him more than need out. Unless they're going to go get pick Chisholm up.
Well, they could have a French halfback, yeah.
Although Lacans did outplay Reynolds against Bulls, to be fair.
Lacans played really well, but standoff scrum half, isn't it?
Yeah. It's who you need and who you want, what sort of half you want and stuff.
I mean, if you're playing, I don't know, Dewsbury at home, you maybe can get away with more. If you've got a trip to Toulouse, you're not going to want Reynolds to be sodding off to go play for KR because Lewis has picked up a knock to his leg in training 2 days before game.
Yeah, true.
I'll deliberately pick a non-graphic injury because we hope none of them get seriously crippled.
Well, that's the thing. Reynolds could actually go on dual. It's not going to happen, though, is it? Let's be honest.
Well, I mean, we say this. We did have Brett Ferris on dual reg from Featherstone a few years back, and James Harrison.
That's when could Chisholm actually go back to KR, where the first
yes,
team he played for over here on dual reg and play for?
Well, in theory, yes.
That would be funny. Maybe that's what they do.
Imagine Chisholm, emergency standing, playing in the whole derby kicking the winning drop goal for KR.
Realistically, they're probably
That
just.
won't happen.
Realistically, they won't sign anyone, and they'll just play like if all happens, they'll just play like Minchella in halves or something.
But will they not do that? Because otherwise, why have they gone for Gale if they've not got an interest in picking somebody up permanently?
Yeah, but who else is there? If Gale's the first port of call, who else is there after that?
I mean, I guess you go Gale because he's got the experience, and
he's already full time as well. He's already full time, so it's got to be one at way. But then Lawford's just signed, so you imagine Lee's off at table, and there was some. I don't know if there was some, the money he's on or what deal he's on.
It depends what's left over, because I mean, you could in theory tempt a part timer with a decent enough pay packet, but it's got to be that, and it's got to be someone who's quite young, who's maybe not got an established second job yet.
Well, yeah, one of the players have. It's not like players haven't moved on.
Because you're not going to afford to get the likes of Jordan Lilly out. I mean, I know you said don't mention your halfbacks, but
I mean, I think
you wouldn't. I don't think you'd be able to pay him enough for that and actually get value for money.
Well, we'd demand big money. We'd be demanding 6 figures, I think.
You'd be wanting wanting a decent fee
to get him offers,
which I guess is also quite interesting because Hull KR haven't demanded a fee for Abdul.
Yeah, maybe if they had, then
and that to me suggests that Hull KR don't have a problem with this move. Because if they put a fee on the table, you risk Catalan not exercising that option to buy.
Maybe.
Whereas if there's no fee involved, that's basically already agreed.
Yeah, but maybe that's why. I mean, we don't know the ins and outs of the contract. Maybe that's why it's a loan, because in Abdul's contract it might say you can only leave partway through this contract if X amount is paid, and they can't waive that, so they've got to use it as a loan to a free to get round that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if it's the club's favour, they could quite easily legally waive that amount. Yeah. So I don't know if I'd quite buy that as the reason. That being said, it could well be contract specific.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But obviously, there's no way of us knowing that.
No,
exactly.
Unless Jordan, you want to take to social media and tell us all, that would also be fine. But you're probably under legal privilege and can't anyway.
Yeah. But it's weird. It has just been a weird period. I mean, Kershaw's decided he don't want to train with Leeds anymore, and he's gone to.
Well, the problem is he wants an actual contract, which is not forthcoming at Leeds.
Oh dear.
I mean, we've always heard all along at Headley that in order for someone to sign, somebody needs to go. So realistically, the only name that was on the table of leaving, with reportedly Lee and Bradford interested, was Darrell Olferts.
Yeah.
And obviously, funnily enough, Darrell Olferts is still at Leeds. So
I wonder why.
Well, that suggests there's no room for Kershaw. I mean, I guess the other option would be if you found a suitor for Lewis Roberts, but I don't see many of them knocking in the woodwork either.
No, it's all about politics and contracts and shit. I think with me, it makes sense Kershaw to London. I know he's on a trial. Why is he on a trial? He's literally. It's not like he's not fit. He's trained with Leeds for ages. You know what he can do. You've literally got bloody Ilias McCarney, who's like League One quality on wing. I've seen kit numbers. It's terrible.
Well, I can't wait for Ilias McCarthy to be on the pod as a guest and just.
I absolutely love Ilias McCarney. Like
now
Bradford,
he backtracks.
Bradford Bull's legend, right? But like, come on. He'll tell you himself, like he's really good, and he's not league, but he's championship quality. But the fact that London have now lost all them players that basically got them up, like the 3 big overseas guys, it's starting to look pretty bleak.
There's no real Super League experience in that squad, and that is a concern.
Outside of Walker and
because even if we said 3 or 4 of those players actually step up and somehow go scoring tries for fun, you're going to need a core of decent, experienced heads. And actually, let's be honest, Kershaw probably doesn't fill that mould either.
It's good time. They need that sort of. I mean,
it'd be an improvement on what they've got, because the worst case scenario is sitting in there and you've got 3 wingers competing for 2 spots or pushing each other. Yeah,
but I just don't see how. I mean, I assume logistically for him it means a house move, but I also look at London's squad. They've got space on the cap. They've got marquee space. I just don't. It's like it's not being tapped up properly, is it?
But then is this deliberate because they've got nothing to play for? Why would you spend the full cap in a season where you've already been told by IMG you are not staying in Super League?
Yeah,
basically,
but get some exciting players over. Like the bit. I think,
but the thing is, that's not sustainable money. Whereas for London, they're thinking, hold this money, spend it on things like the off-field stuff.
Yeah, maybe so.
And that's going to get them more IMG points than scrapping to try and finish 11th.
Yeah, but there's trying to save on salary cap, and then there's giving Kershaw a 4-week trial when he's like fit as a fiddle, eager to play. Just give him a contract.
Well, look, I agree on that one, but I mean in terms of more you're bringing exciting players over. This is ultimately the nature of what IMG have created, and I mean this is only a 1-year problem. Because obviously next year we should have the league set up more.
And it will know what's happening.
The way it's supposed to be in their mind. And, you know, we kind of saw off the initial ranks. It's kind of obvious where the teams are that are pushing for those 13, 14 Super League spots.
Yeah.
Assuming the restructure or there's some form of revaluation period every 3 years or whatever, like the old licensing was.
Yeah, how it's going to work, yeah.
Well, we kind of know that a bit more. Whereas for London, they're not even in that conversation.
No.
So this is going to be for them almost about getting into that conversation and becoming one of the biggest championship teams with the highest grading.
They're not going to get anyone going to see them when they've got no... Like, they're still... You know, when they're getting pagged every week, it's just... There's finishing bottom, which they did a few years ago.
But they finished with 2 points the other year.
Yeah, but...
This is not unheard of for London. And this is where I think actually there's part of a big, wider problem. And it comes from basically not having a Super League team in London for years, in part. There's nothing to market because the second tier is very difficult to push when you've not even got a TV deal properly.
No, yeah.
At least you can market
definitely.
a top flight division club. Especially given half the London Union teams have just gone bust. I mean, can we not get some of them for like pittance?
Well, you'd hope so, wouldn't you?
But like, it's hard to market a second tier club. That is just a matter of fact in rugby, particularly one that hasn't got a huge amount of recent history.
Yeah.
You then factor that in with the fact they've had more home grounds than I've had hot dinners. It only now do they seem settled in Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Which is fine because that gives them at least a base to market from. I mean, was it 1 year they played home games in 3 different grounds? Yeah, how do you sell a season ticket? This week we're at Ealing, this week we're at Wimbledon, tomorrow Twickenham, who knows?
We're at Wembley next week and it's all...
Like, week after, we're playing on Hyde Park, we've rented a pitch from council for 2 hours. Like, you know, it's a really difficult product to push, and that's why the attendances have ultimately never really took off.
Yeah.
A permanent home and a permanent Super League fixture will help give you that marketing platform to do that. That being said, it doesn't necessarily guarantee you bums on seats. Look at Huddersfield as a prime example.
Well, yeah, true.
How much money's been spent there, and if there's more than 10 people, then you might as well throw a carnival for them.
Well, you do love a bit of Huddersfield slander, don't you?
Of course. Did I not say to you last season, and I apologise to the 5 or 6 of you that go week in, week out, but if I could just relegate any club in this IMG, I think it'd be bye-bye Huddersfield.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't.
No, I don't think it is.
Unfortunately, I'm not in power.
But yeah, and it was London are in trouble, essentially.
Well, London are probably finishing bottom. You don't need the Super League preview pod to tell you that.
Yeah.
Unless they're going to come out tomorrow and say that Nathan Cleary is their first marquee player.
Even then, though.
And, well, I mean...
I don't know, you never know. At least
get half of our mates from the blooming Ultimate Super League squad down.
Well, yeah. I mean...
Get Kevin Nagama back since he makes one good break again.
But yeah, I think they need to do something, definitely. But we'll see. I guess that's the thing. January's only just started and we're already seeing some madness. I feel like there's definitely a few more tales.
I mean, I guess this actually leads us on to what we kind of naturally planned to end this on. And who's in a good position already and who actually has got a lot of work to do heading into the season. I mean, I'm going to pull the Super League table up so I don't and ironically missed someone because
I
quite
think-
often I get to 11 teams and think, who the fuck have I not
You're
said?
looking at, like, I think Saints, they look pretty settled apart from... I mean, have you seen the rumours about Wacker Blake?
Well, that looks like it's set to happen
Yeah.
now, which even better serious about Rugby League said it wouldn't, so that almost guarantees it will be happening. Because if Callum Walker says it, you can guarantee the opposite's happening.
Yeah.
Or we've recorded a video on it 2 days earlier.
Yeah, probably.
One of the two. Should we just go alphabetically? This might be easier.
Yeah, go on, go off. Well, yeah, it's table set for next season in alphabetical order.
Yeah, so Castleford. I don't really know what Castleford are doing.
I think they seem pretty set in the way.
The squad looks pretty poor, but it's considerably better than London, and there's not really rumours of anything happening. So I don't know if this is the Wakefield building up for 11th place and that's it, job done approach.
Yeah, maybe just try and get... I think if Cass can just build a tight, knit squad that all want to play for Cass, then I think they'll do all right anyway. I think they'll win games and they'll lose games, they'll win games. 11th is where they're expected to finish.
I mean, if they get more than 4 points, it's probably a bonus, isn't it?
They'll get more than 4.
But you fancy them to beat London both legs.
They'll beat London. Yeah, but then they'll beat...
Well, no, what will they do? They'll beat London, they'll beat Leeds at home, because that's the one game a year where they turn into prime saints.
They've got wins against, like, your Salfords, you think, and your others.
Well, actually, Salford's are probably the contenders for 11th, aren't they?
I think this is a division where I think the top 7 are so...
We probably need to save this for the Super League.
Yeah, we do, actually. Let's not say... We just need to talk about the squad, not the actual...
Catalan, I think there's a lot of movement out of that club, and I don't really think we've seen too much in yet.
Well, apart from Abdul, who literally is the point
literally what inspired this entire thing. So I would imagine there's still more to come from Catalan. It doesn't feel like all is sunny on the French Riviera.
It sounds like they're just panicking after losing the assistant manager, to be honest. It honestly does.
What it does genuinely sound like is they've had a lot of squad turn and they don't feel like the forward plan the contract.
I mean, the best players retired, so...
But then if you know you've got a player that's that age he announced
it halfway through the season.
I was going to say, I don't think he dropped on them at full time at grand final. Here's the loser's speech. Oh yeah, I'm not coming back.
Losing Kefren's big. I don't think you realise how big that is.
That's massive. And
how good he actually is.
What centre have they signed? Off the top of my head, nobody.
Well, stay tuned for their Super League season preview.
Well, yeah, but they're going to have to be one of the last because I don't trust that they're finished.
Yeah,
and I've got them.
Yeah, true. We'll have to... Yeah, but still.
So, then we're on to Huddersfield. Again, there's not much noise coming out of the John
they're
Smiths.
Similar to Cass, where they're just settled in the squad that they've got on the ways. And they've I'm happy.
That's quite normal anyway. There's never much noise coming out of that ground with the cowbell.
But I think their squad's pretty settled. I think we can say that.
Yeah, I don't see much happening. Hull FC, when is that ever settled, let's be honest?
It seems, there's not much rumour-wise coming out.
No.
That's what you've got to judge it on. Like, there's not much happening.
I don't think much will happen, and then if you're a Hull fan listening to Adam Pearson's comments about needing investment to challenge higher up, you're probably a bit worried. The club nearly went under on COVID loans. You're now hearing that. I can see why KR got a higher IMG score if this is Hull FC's financial situation.
Bradford Bulls 2.0 FC are going under.
Well, they haven't had the success to go with it, so I don't consider Challenge Cups,
we didn't have success for like 8 years before.
Well, no, but your financial pros were ultimately rooted in trying to compete with Leeds back in the mid-2000s.
Yeah, in the backlog of that, yeah.
That's kind of where it started to go wrong. If Hull FC have done that to win 2 Challenge Cups, and that is appalling.
Yeah, at least we won a lot when we were...
Yeah, at least your name's in the history books on Super League. Fair play winning the Challenge Cup back-to-back, but it's not worth losing your entire club for.
Yeah,
mind you, neither were beating us, but
Right, go next to KR issue, which we already have said are the least settled club in the league at the minute, I think.
I'd actually disagree with that. I think there's probably only 1 or 2 more additions to come on Abdul's cap. I think Catalans are in a far more chaotic place.
Abdul's gone, and then they've brought Burgess in. It's not a settled team.
It's not a like-for-like replacement, but I don't think there's many more personnel changes to happen.
But there's certain clubs who you think they're set and they've got the business done, whereas I think KR are.
Well, that probably leads us nicely on to 6th, which is Leeds, who I don't see making another signing, to be honest.
No,
I think that is...
Got the big business done early.
Business done. The Aussies are here.
Kershaw were literally twerking for you, training with you for no, and you still didn't sign the poor bastard. So you definitely settled, that's what I'm saying.
Do you know what? I'm going to come out and say potentially one of the most controversial comments I've ever said on this podcast. I'm not sure he would be an improvement on Daryl Alfertz.
Different sort of winger. Completely different.
Different for me, he would be Tyndall 2.0.
I mean, Tyndall's going to be starting for FC, so we'll find out how
Well,
good
you'll
Tyndall
touch on
really
my
is.
thoughts on Liam Tyndall's departure when we do the Hull FC preview, which is also one of mine.
Yeah. Don't be hating on my boy.
Why would I be hating on Tyndall?
Because you've just hated on him now. He's not.
No, I haven't. I think Tyndall's probably should have been the third choice last season every time Fuzzy 2 was injured, but because he'd already agreed to go to FC,
you kind of outlawed
the Leeds
him to
decision was like, well, actually, why are we going to spend our time and energy developing Tyndall, who's not contracted as our player for next season, rather than Louis Roberts, who is?
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense.
Now, the Roberts family are quite active in the social media space and like to comment negatively on anything concerning their son, so I won't say anything on the status of that horse that we are flogging on that one. But there was definitely a case of you've cut your nose off to spite your face by not choosing Tyndall there. He definitely was good enough to play more than what he did at Leeds. And I'm quite glad in a way he's gone to FC where he will be getting that appreciation and hopefully...
Yeah. No, you're right.
Hopefully he can show it a bit more because we've seen it in flashes but never really consistently.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Anyway, we're getting into the Hull FC season preview here.
I know. So Lee are settled, by the way. Lee are settled.
Don't see much happening there. I'd be surprised if there's any...
They've made the big signing. They've done... I mean, we've just done... It's just gone out. Well, it's not just gone out. It's going out on Friday, as you're watching this on the Wednesday, their Super League season preview. So you'll see all their incomes.
Oh, yeah, and it's Leeds next Monday where I don't touch too much on Tyndall's departure.
Yeah. But it's pretty steady at Lee.
Yeah. Then we go on to the chaos in the capital.
Which I think it's chaotic because they've lost everyone and signed like no one.
Yeah, it is literally like who's going to rock through the door. At this point, I'm pretty sure they'll be dragging random London businessmen off the street and just throwing a number 6 jersey on them.
Yeah, they'll be ending up with all sorts of people.
I mean, we've got Dave from Accounts playing prop next year. That's the way it's looking at the moment.
They'll be getting in on with fans, will be in, won't they?
Have you given up on your dreams of being pro yet? You might have a chance at London.
Maybe that's what they need to do, though.
I mean, they are actually, that's a good point. London, of course, doing this part-time as well.
Oh, God, it's just...
This is mad for Super League. Like, this is unheard of. Can you imagine this in the NRL?
I honestly wish they'd just put Fev had just done it now, and I don't like Fev, but just...
Or to lose.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's boring is to lose to it, isn't it?
Is this if you couldn't go on the away day if they got
it's just boring. No, it's just...
I would have preferred Fev purely because we've not seen them in Super League recently. And
the best team,
I think Featherstone Castleford on a Super League derby day under the lights on the hill at Fev.
Yeah,
what a ground that would be. You've got the Fev fans who are making the blue wall of noise, smattering in your casual racism you tend to get over there. Then you've got the Cass fans giving it absolutely everything because they hate Fev. You know, this would just be the abuse derby, and I'm here for it.
Hammers would be out, wouldn't they?
I think that'd be a tame night out if you only got whacked around head with a hammer there. Christ, the big fellas are in force.
That's what you expected.
Travellers Inn would look very different to what it did other day.
But no, I'm actually going to say that the team from the Championship who would have been the best logistically
dismantled
would have probably been Bradford. But
the London team is dismantled.
Yeah,
that's the
problem.
Not the team
that
got.
went up. That's the thing. If they'd have kept Norman and Farey and Raymond Louis, I'd have thought, well, maybe they've at least got.
And again, if they're replacing these with Jack Wellesby, Nathan Cleary, and Bevan French, I maybe think they might actually win a few games. Yeah. But
anyway,
at the moment, it just looks like we're getting a random French.
London is definitely not settled.
Well, neither is number 9 Salford.
No, they need.
This is chaos. So they need players. They need money. They need a ground.
That's what I mean. Just relegate them. Just relegate them.
I'm genuinely quite worried about Salford.
I think Salford finish below Cast next year.
I don't just mean this season.
IMG.
They have got a 1-year lease extension on that ground. If that ground goes, there is no other Super League quality stadium in the vicinity of Salford for them to go into. The football ground does not meet Super League advertising standards in its present form. And I don't think the Red Devils have the money to bring that up. No. If that goes wrong with the council, the entire club is in big trouble.
Yeah, where do they go?
And that's scary.
Old Trafford. That's the only one that is, by the way, in the vicinity. But then,
I mean, I know we use it for a grand final, but I genuinely mean this. With the stupid dips off the end of the pitch that are like 4 buses long, are the advertising hoardings actually high enough for the electronics on Super League?
know.
Because the pitch is so raised compared to the ground. I mean, it's like falling off a cliff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird one.
Also, how do you have the grand final at London Broncos home Salford Red Devils home ground?
It realistically, the only one I can think of in that vicinity that is like if you went to the one, the stadium that's next to the.
Can we rebuild the Willows?
Well, where is it? Like an housing estate?
Yeah, just evict them. It's fine.
Wow. Right, so yeah, Salford's unsettled anyway.
Salford's in fucking turmoil, let alone not else. St Helens, there's a picture of stability largely.
Stabled apart from the centre, which we know that they wanted.
We think Wacker Blake's number 3. We've touched on it.
And what a signing that is, by the way.
Well, I actually am going to disagree with you here. No, because I think it could be, depending what Wacker turns up. Because Cleary kicked that boy off the park in the NRL Grand Final 2 years ago. And last year, he looked awful for Parramatta compared.
But
the Eels fans have literally bought his plane ticket to get him away from the club. That's the level he's coming over under. If this is Super League, new challenge, point to prove, fired up, boy of Saints got a cracking player there. If this is down on his confidence, hoping to come for an easier ride, then there are teams here more than good enough to rough him up and really pile on that misery. You drop that head, I don't think that's necessarily going to be an improvement on Hurrell if his head drops.
Yeah, I just think Saints will have made. I feel like Saints don't get these sort of signings wrong.
But then was Hopoate a success?
Yeah, it was. Just because he didn't need to set world light, he just did his job. They sign players from
But then are these the sort of players you get to just do it? Is just doing a job going to win that title back from Wigan?
I think Wacker Blake's a different signing than Hopoate.
I'm going to say now. I don't know if they sell, but if you can get him out, I think if I was St Helens, I would rather have Toby King than Wacker Blake.
Well, yeah, probably, but that's because you know what Toby King's going to do.
Precisely. I mean, Blake could come and be another Hurrell.
I mean, Toby King's obviously back from loan now, isn't he? So he's back at Warrington. So.
Warrington season preview, of course, out last Friday. Check that out if you haven't already.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Saints are pretty settled. Who else have we got now?
Well, we've got Warrington, funnily enough.
Well, I think pretty settled. I mean, Cassiano's just gone, but we kind of knew that were going to happen anyway.
No, I'm going to say, we'd heard reports of that. It's not come as a surprise. I actually think that's a blessing.
Yeah, and I think they've accounted for that. It's not like... I think they've already accounted for that in the squad before.
There's probably not too many players to move on now, and similar to what we said then, it's a very young squad.
Yeah,
the potential is huge. That also means the potential to be picked apart by the Aussie Vultures is huge. But, these typically... I mean, Aussie signings tend to be more the end of a season. Yeah. So, at least heading into it, you kind of know what you've got.
Yeah, true.
Whereas Super League signings between them, they're a bit more can happen randomly.
Yeah, that's
you don't
true.
have that same when you're being shipped to the other side of the world. It's more the other way around. We'll pick up a random Aussie on a Thursday night in June.
Yeah, who's being kicked out.
It was either that's it. Val Holmes is off to Broncos, isn't he? He's the disgraced Aussie they're saving up for. That's why Kershaw's only on trial.
Wow. Imagine having McCartney on one wing
and Valentine Holmes on the other. I mean, they had, Jamie Soward and Corey Norman over the last few years. They love a big name Aussie over down in London.
Yeah, but I feel Valentine Holmes is bigger than them all.
Well, his nose fucking is after what went up at. Christ, he makes Hardacre look like small-time boy dealing in corners of Cass.
Right. Fuck's sake. How have we got on to him? I thought we were on about Warrington. Right, Wigan, I think...
I would say Warrington's settled then.
Warrington's settled. Wigan is settled.
Oh, Wigan don't need anybody.
Yeah.
In fact, can we take some off of them?
Well, no, they're just going to end up at Wakey on dual reg, aren't they?
Do you know what? I can't wait for recovering Adam Caird after he gets a knock to just dual reg at Wakey and kick against Bulls.
They'll end up like
you might get field on dual reg at Wakey.
Literally, they're all going to be. They're literally that. Literally, you can imagine. There's a team where Wakey don't have like Ensemble, Sam Walters, Essay, and
I mean, Essay definitely because he's just come from there,
Yeah,
so that makes
I
perfect
think
sense
Essay's
to develop
built
him back there.
and I think Ensemble will spend a lot of time down there, and I love Ensemble. You know,
I don't know. I think he might be on periphery.
I think he's unreal, mate.
I think he might be the
think
one
he's
that's on
so
the
good.
periphery. I think Sam Walters might to drop, and
Yeah,
he's another one who probably doesn't deserve that.
They've got that much depth, though.
Mind you, saying that he left Leeds because they couldn't guarantee him starts at the time, whereas Wigan clearly have.
How many props do you, realistically, if you carry 4 props in a game? Thompson, Cooper, Margot, Havard.
I think you maybe take Walter just because you can slot him in second row.
Well.
I think that's why you carry him on the bench more than some of those others.
But then they've even. Go watch this Wigan preview that we've done because we talk about all this. Their squad is absolutely stupid.
Well, what I was going to say is, if in the unlikely event that we have a shock and Wigan get knocked out of the cup early, they have a week off. Wakey have got a big championship promotion game. It's Patrick Mago coming to the Be Well whatever stadium.
Boy, I don't even know what it's called anymore.
What was it? The Be Well support last year. Whatever at Bellevue.
It's Bellevue, isn't it? Let's be honest, it's Bellevue.
That's not quite settled.
Well, and they've got like Field French, Kieran, and
well, what we're going to end this podcast on is basically a Wigan squad photo with Wakefield shirts edited on certain players. You don't actually have to do that.
I'm not doing that. No, I'm
not given this is going out tomorrow as we're recording this.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. But is that last? That's the last team, isn't it?
Well, there's only 12. Yeah.
I wasn't counting them as you were going along. Funnily enough, I was just going through them. But anyway, I think 45 minutes. I think we've rambled enough about this.
Yeah, we'll give you your life back anyway, guys.
Yeah, but what do you think? Is there any business to be done? Any business that needs to be done?
Is Kershaw an upgrade on Alfertz?
Probably not. I don't know.
I'm just pitching questions for the people to discuss.
Is Kershaw an upgrade on McCartney?
Would you rather have McCartney or Valentine Holmes? There we go. That's what I'm ending it on.
Yeah. Right, we'll see.
See you next time, guys.
We'll see you next week.